on the morning of September 10th, N1098L, the Hades G6500 Bombardier Global Express departs from El Paso, Texas, heading towards Kalispell, Montana. It's its first flight of the day. As it approaches Salt Lake City, Utah, and specifically Provo, it begins to descend over Utah Lake. It descends and begins to slow down its airspeed, and it descends from cruising altitude all the way down to about 600 feet above ground level, AGL, above ground level. When it reaches its lowest altitude and its slowest airspeed during this leg and this maneuver here, it is adjacent to the University, Utah Valley University. So the aircraft is directly adjacent to Utah Valley University when it gets to the, there you go, 115 knots at one point. And then it begins to climb back out and continue on its journey. So the question is, why is it making this type of maneuver adjacent to where Charlie Kirk was killed on the day that Charlie Kirk was killed? Now, this is happening 3 hours before the shooting. And the plane heads back up to cruising altitude and continues on its way. Now, what's really odd is that the same aircraft returns later in the day and does the same type of maneuver in the same spot. Let me show you that. The morning flight on September 10th, the first flight of the day, was El Paso, Texas to Kalispell, Montana. The second flight of the day is Kalispell, Montana to El Paso, Texas. Maybe they forgot something. And so let's take a look at the flight as it departs from Kalispell, Montana, and it heads south towards El Paso, Texas. Again, once it gets to the Salt Lake City area, this is the same aircraft, this same plane we just looked at, and this plane begins to descend again. And when it gets adjacent to Utah Valley University, it is at a AGL, above ground speed, above ground level of just 204 feet. And it's flying at close to stall speed before it begins to climb back out. So we've now seen the same aircraft in the same place make relatively the same maneuver, and in both cases descend rather dramatically, slow down rather dramatically. And we don't really see a record of this aircraft making this maneuver in this location. On the day before, the Wednesday prior, it doesn't seem to have a record of it. Now, it does seem to practice this maneuver or make this maneuver over lakes. So it seems like this is something these guys practice or do. But I can't tell you, exactly what's going on in every other place. But here, where they did it, and when they did it, so they kind of collared it. They were there 3 hours before and 20 minutes after Charlie Kirk was shot. And as far as I'm concerned, that makes N1098L the prime suspect in the killing of Charlie Kirk. I'm John Cohen. Thanks for joining.